Assetto Corsa EVO free roam. In this video, I'm going to show you what it looks like, and I'm going to be brutally honest. I need to be brutally honest, as I always am, but especially here because Assetto Corsa EVO free roam has been such an important pull to the game. So many people have bought the game because of the promise of free roam. It was hyped massively before launch. It was massively overhyped, in my opinion, by certain influencers and outlets. But here, there's going to be no wool over your eyes. I'm just going to show you what it looks like. We're going to look at the pros. We're going to look at the cons. We're going to look at the philosophy. So this is the Nordschleife tourist area. This has been a revelation for EVO. This has been a big plus for EVO. The idea of executing this tourist area in a non-modded game has been fantastic. Gran Turismo's implementation of this is just absolutely terrible, with like their paddock area, just nonsense, don't even know what they're doing. I've been to the Nordschleife, I've driven the track, I've obviously driven the roads about it, and I'm going to let you know if they've captured the essence here, but also some interesting things that let us know whether free roam is actually going to be that big for Assetto Corsa EVO. Because this is the thing, right? You see two Porsche 992s go out on track there. Assetto Corsa EVO already has, in my opinion, a really good handling model. Yes, some people will nitpick it, but in my opinion, it really replicates the feeling that you get when you take a powerful car to the track and you're like a bit overawed by the car. You have to kind of learn the car, you have to respect the car. And you do it on a track where it's where the cars are made to drive. Like, you're hitting apexes, there's runoff, you know, not so much at Nordschleife, there's barriers. It's the place where you should be driving these cars. And my first question is, if you can already drive these cars on the Nordschleife, why would you care so much about driving them off the Nordschleife? And I'm going to show you some populated areas, I'm going to show you the roads, I'm going to show you some interesting areas, I'm going to show you what's good and what's not good. If you've been to the Nordschleife, you'll recognise these roads here as you kind of enter and exit the actual Nordschleife. The question is, why would I want to drive on those roads if I can already drive on the Nordschleife? That's an interesting conundrum that you have with this particular map, because you already have the Nordschleife here. If it was going to be a free roam area of London or Los Angeles or Tokyo, that's different, because that's like, oh, you know, it'd be fun to have a fancy of like creating my own checkpoint races through London, through corners I've spent looking at, daydreaming when I've been on the bus and thought, oh, what would that be like to take in the Porsche 911 GT3 RS? Well, now I'd be able to do it. But here I've already got the Nordschleife. So this seems a little bit like window dressing. It kind of cuts through the benefit of this free roam area. Also, the tourist layout of this Nordschleife and the way that you start in the pits there, well, I say pits, it's a car park. The way you start in the car park and you can go out in pairs or go out in groups, as we've seen drivers do in this video, is already a really good social experience that, as I say, is where these cars belong. These cars really belong on the track. And are you really going to drive in a convoy around these free roam areas here? Are you going to do a handbrake turn around this corner and go into the tunnel? Maybe, yes. I think we're all going to try at the beginning for sure, because it's going to be exciting. But then, are we actually just going to prefer driving in the Nordschleife? Are we really going to live a fancy where we, you know, drive to the track, inverted commas, from somewhere else? I'm not sure. I'm not sure. And something that I think will also become apparent in this video is that Assetto Corsa EVO have already had to create the Nordschleife. Like, all of the Nordschleife is clearly in the game, because you to drive it, it needs to be in the game. With that, you have a massive environment, and to fill in the blanks on that environment, it is superficially is not that difficult to do. Certainly not using LiDAR and using satellite scans and all that kind of stuff. And then the question becomes, well, given that the track itself needs to be of such a high quality, because, you know, on this channel I've done Nordschleife comparison videos, comparing with real life, etc. Like, people will choose where to drive on Nordschleife depending on where it's best in the sim. Are they going to be able to bring that same detail to the open world? Well, clearly not, because the open world is so much bigger. And if you ever want to see like what a 2D tree is, this is what a 2D tree is. When you're driving 200 miles an hour down Dottinger, you're not going to notice 2D trees. But when you're in free roam and you park up, you might notice 2D trees more, and that might, you know, evaporate the illusion for you. And I'm going to go to these buildings here. So there's actually some buildings. And again, you know, by the way, I get a massive Test Drive Unlimited vibe from this right now. Like, I get such a Test Drive Unlimited vibe. The fact that you could go here and you could buy a Jaguar, you could test drive a Jaguar, you could take it to the ring, you could test drive like a different Jaguar, but it needs to be populated. Like, do they have the resources to create this as a showroom, for example? Because it's so tantalizingly close to being something that makes sense. And we've seen even Test Drive Unlimited Solar Crown really struggle with this, and they've had a dedicated team just doing the open world. The Assetto Corsa EVO team has to make sure that the game itself stands up as a track simulator up against the likes of iRacing and Le Mans Ultimate and Rennsport and Project Motor Racing, Gran Turismo, and now they need to do the free roam. And again, as I look here, I see this car going around. Like, by the way, I lose control of the camera here. This is a great opportunity to make sure you subscribe to my channel. It really helps me out. I'm not paid to make this video. I've never been paid by Assetto Corsa or Assetto Corsa EVO. I'm just very passionate about the game because I really like the idea of free roaming. I think Gran Turismo should do more of this stuff, but we're starting to see just how difficult it can be. Again, we're going the Aston Martin place here, and there's absolutely nothing in there. Now, some of the detail here might look a bit crap in the distance. That's mainly due to level of detail. Like, actually, when you go over there, a lot of the times you do get really good detail. So they've got a lot of the way with the LiDAR, with maybe they're using some kind of procedural generation, I don't know. But when you actually go to the textures everywhere, they're fantastic. So these are going to be pretty cool places potentially to explore. They'll need to work out the level of detail on the draw distance, but I'm sure they can fix that. And you are going to feel like you're in a massive environment. As I go a little bit higher here, you're going to see like the environment, it feels really, really, really big. I was really impressed doing this about how big the environment felt. Now, this is going to be an example where Assetto Corsa EVO, I think, have got it right, and this shows really what they can do. This is a petrol station, or gas station for my American friends, and this presumably is going to be a really important part of the free roam. Presumably, you're going to need to fill up. Whether that's interesting or not, whether you're doing runs at the Nordschleife and then you're running out of fuel and you've got to peel off and you've got to fill up, whether that's going to be fun or not, I don't know. Remember, think about Gran Turismo, the DLC, the Power Pack, where you can't skip qualifying and it's a massive pain. But if you think of it in a simulation sense, you'd never want to skip qualifying. But in a game sense, sometimes you just want to skip it. So if you have to fill up, that might become a bit annoying. Maybe it's an optional thing. But this has to be a really believable environment. I have to say, from the exterior, I'm really impressed. Anyone who's watching this video who has their own car, petrol car, diesel car, will be familiar with petrol stations and getting rinsed at the pump. Luckily, my Peugeot RCZ is very, very economical for a sports car. But this is pretty good. You can see the fuels here. I like the idea potentially that... I like the idea that you could put diesel in your petrol car and it just splutters. I like the idea that if you put Super Plus in, maybe your car, like, you know, runs a bit better. Or maybe it retains better value. Like, there's some really interesting gameplay mechanics they could clearly do here. But, you know, inside, it's a bit mobile FPS, isn't it? For lack of a better word, they can't quite compete here. Where Forza Horizon 6, I imagine, is going to have much better environment quality when it comes to stuff. Anything that you can see, they're going to make sure that it's really good. But, you know, generally, I'm quite impressed by this petrol station. There's a little cafe next door. Again, I don't know what the mechanic is here. Does your character get hungry like GTA San Andreas? Does your character get fat if you eat too many hot dogs? I don't know. But again, it's nice track dressing. But how this actually becomes... I'm pretty critical on this channel. Like, I don't mess about. I don't just shill stuff and hype things. I'm pretty critical. I'm like, well, how is that going to be a compelling experience? Okay, now we're going to go into the woods a little bit and things get interesting. So firstly, I do want to show you here, like, the way the game like works on the texture basis is quite good. Okay, so when you're down here, you can imagine in like a little GIR or something, it can be really fun. But what about these little bollards? Are they going to be deformable or not? Are they going to be fully clippable? Are you just going to clip through them? Are they going to damage your car a little bit? If so, how much? Are they going to slow you down at all? If anyone remembers the original Test Drive Unlimited, you hit a little thing like that and your car would just stop. Like, it was very binary. It's interesting to see here stuff like graffiti. Like, I was surprised. It really actually made it feel to me like I was in a living, breathing environment. Just details like that separate it from being textures. It's always a bit risky including graffiti, because unless you really know what it says, this could be some very controversial graffiti. Could also be like artwork that the artist says they own, I don't know. But it's cool to see graffiti in here. If you've been to the Nordschleife, you'll know that graffiti is a big feature of it on the track and around the track as well. But let's dive into the woods. I can hear a car coming. It was really interesting on an audible experience. In fact, I'm going to be quiet for a little bit because you're going to hear a car coming round. And the audio is really, really good. And I can just imagine, for example, if there's like Monte Carlo or mountains or somewhere, like hearing cars on top of the mountains, or the audio design here feels a lot better to me than Forza. You know, Forza is blasting like pop at me at this point and everything, but this feels like actually way more authentic. I was really impressed by the audio side, and big credit to the audio team on Assetto Corsa EVO. This is where it obviously starts to get a bit rough. Again, in a big free roam driving game, you wouldn't expect to see this. This is obviously using like this no-clip camera. This is not final by any stretch, but they have promised that the Eifel region is going to be this free roam, and it does bring back to that question, which is that did they think that it's fairly low-hanging fruit to do the Eifel region as free roam because they've already done the track? And as I go up here and you see like how big the track is, they obviously need to have the environments already there. And did they think maybe with some advance in technology like using LiDAR, procedural generation, they can just populate the free roam area? And this is one of my biggest concerns. Like well over a year ago, when a lot of influencers were really hyping the free roam, saying this is going to be insane, I was like, how are the team actually going to make this a living, breathing environment? And the position I am now is that because I think Evo does have a good handling model in my opinion, because for me it does look great in my opinion, and it has a good selection of cars and the audio is great, I can imagine their focus being, it's almost like a convoy game. As we've seen convoys go around the Nordschleife in this video, it's almost like you set up a lobby and with 5 mates after work you're sort of driving around, and then someone bins it off the side of the hill and you all wait for them to catch up and you convoy. I don't get the impression that it's going to be like a, and I might be wrong, but I struggle to see how they're going to get there. It's going to be a great single player environment to be in where you kind of make your own fun. You know, a bit like some FPS games are great multiplayer games, but they're really bad single player games. I wonder if it's going to be like that. Now, again, I want to show you the vista here. The vista is insane. The vista is so good, so it really does feel like a big environment, and you know the vista is insane. But there's a lot to chew on in this video. Let me know what you think in the comments. Make sure to subscribe to help me out. I'm just a small creator doing this on my own, and I'll see you in the next video.